Morning everyone, it's Mark aka the Bowlerhat Farmer. How you doing guys? And I've just got to do this video today as a point of frustration really. I deem myself as very British, very English, and that raised a question in my head yesterday as what does that really mean to me anymore? Because when I was a kid, and I'm not anymore sadly, when I was a kid, we were brought up under really, really strict morals from our family. And a classic example, if I'd have gone down the street and dropped a sweet wrapper, I would have expected a smack aside of the ear from my mum because that's how we were brought up. Was I mistreated as a child? No. Did I class myself as an abused child? No. Did I get taught right from wrong? Yes. Did I get a smack if I was naughty? Yes. Did I get loved if I was, needed encouragement, nourishment? Yes. Where did it all go wrong? See, my kids were brought up that they got smacked if they were naughty, loved when the time was right. And I see how they behave with their kids and they're the same. But a lot of families have now lost that and I don't know why. I know a big part of this is down to education. And I say that right through from schooling because when I went to school, we used to have a teacher by the name of Mr. Sutton. And Mr. Sutton was the bollocks, I have to say. He was really, really firm. If you misbehaved, he'd lob a bald rubber at your head. But he'd always give you those words of encouragement. And I remember seeing him some years ago and I said to him, "Hello, sir." And he said, "Can't you just call me," I don't even know what his name was, but he said, "Can't you just call me so?" And I said, "I can't, sir." He said, "But, you're a grown-up now." And I said, "Well, I accept that, but I still respect the fact that you're my elder and I still respect the fact that, when we were kids, you were sir. And I don't see that needs to change." And every time he used to come to our farm shop, he'd say, "Morning, Mark." And I'd say, "Oh, hello, sir, how are you doing?" And he used to laugh about it in the end. But that really went to prove to me, that entrenchment of what I believed was right was there for me to believe. Now, these days, kids don't have that respect for their teachers because if a kid gets smacked at school now, the teacher would be instantly probably sacked. The parents would want to teach the teacher a lesson and probably go and give them a slap. How has this changed? Now, I'm not saying that I think kids need to be beaten, don't get me wrong. And that's not about that. This is about what I deem as respect. And respect also for our country that we live in. For me, I've got a lot of frustrations at the moment about our country, which is dying under the weight of society change. And a lot of that society, I understand, is being imported. But that's not my point. I have an issue on the grounds that we no longer have a value to being British. We grew up, or I did, in a country where we were proud to have campaigns running like Keep Britain Tidy. That campaign was entrenched in us at school. We had monitors to make sure we didn't chuck litter about. That wasn't deemed as communism, just common courtesy towards the people around you. Don't speak until you're spoken to. I know when we were kids, we could be little fuckers, me and my older sister. But if we were out with mum and dad and they needed us to just sit quietly and behave ourselves and play, we would. Now, I do think a part of that is down to food and nutrition as well, because I do think that these days, it's easy to chuck kids a pack of sweets to keep them quiet. And then 15 minutes later, when all the additives have cut in and all the sugars are in there, the kids are buzzing and the parents can't do anything with them. So what I'm thinking here is we need to bring a lot of this back in and take responsibility, because that seems to be one of the biggest things these days that we don't want to do. People are struggling with the fact of taking responsibility for anything in their lives. And for me, I'm a great believer in the quality of food breeds good mental health. It breeds good physical health. It encourages me to want out and get out and do a day's work. And that, that's another one. Just a live. What is a day's work these days? For me, I was taught When it's light, you get up. When it's dark, you go to bed. And in the summer, that might mean you doing a 20-hour day. And that's what we were encouraged and brought up to do on the farms. These days, you know, people don't want to work hardly at all. And we've lost this whole moral value, you know, and I think benefits are a lot to do with this. And I say this from lots of sides, not saying that benefits are a bad thing, because there's some people who just need them to survive, to help them if they're disabled, for instance. And I've not got an issue with that. But we've got a lot of people who have the ability to work that don't work because they can spunk the system. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. Let's pay it what it's worth. You know as well as I do, there's people out there, what you probably know, that have never done a fucking day's work in their life and just continue to draw off the benefit system. And that pisses me off. And unfortunately, the people like that have given the system a bad name. And that bad name is now entrenched into our system and allowed more and more and more people to join that system, because then the civil servants get the chance to employ more people. And what happens? They then employ them people, and those people don't want to lose their jobs. They feel the encouragement to encourage more people to spunk off the system. And we're just in this perpetual cycle at the moment of fucking stupidity. Guys, we have to change our country. We have to put some serious changes in place. If that's going to come from government, we need to change the government, not just the government, what's in place. We need to get rid of the whole three parties that are there at the moment, because let's face it, if they're red, blue, green, turquoise or yellow, they haven't achieved sweet sod all yet. Let's be honest. We don't have a patriotic party anymore, and this isn't about government. Tell you now, I will be voting for Advance UK, because for me, that is the only way we can go. But we have to have someone like Ben Habib from Advance, because he's the only patriotic person we've got left in the country, for all intent and purposes, that want to stand in Parliament. All the others are bought and paid for. We have to get back to the fact that that Union Jack, what we are too scared to put up outside our house these days, is part of my culture. It's part of what I'm proud to own. Own as in me, my person, my soul is British. And we have to get our great nation back on track, because if we don't, and this isn't about creed or colour, you know, my partner's black Nigerian, you know, and I love her to bits. This is not about creed or colour. This isn't about Christian or Muslim. This is about the values in our country that have gone adrift. This is about how we put back into place that value. And for me, one of the key things we need to do is start addressing the rubbish on the streets. So guys, definitely going to be getting behind this Keep Britain Tidy campaign, Tidy Up Britain campaign. That is a big problem for me, I see, because of the microplastics that end up in the food and water. As a result of the food and water, we can't grow good quality food. This all has the knock-on effects. All the chemicals that are put into food production that go into the water, all this has to stop. We need to stop. We need to take stock of where our country is, and we need to build a new system that we are proud to be. This may well be a bowler hat and people associate it with the banking industry. For me, it's part of my heritage. It's my great-great-grandfather's. That brings everything to me that I want to know about this country being a great country. Guys, I'm sorry it's a rant, but I am on one at the moment, just be warned. Big love to you all, and thank you all so much for your contributions on the Food Finders Hub, and those of you who are stepping up to volunteer. There's going to be a lot of changes coming to our country, and I think we need to be at the forefront of this, driving those changes, guys. Big love to you all.